Am I being served?
You're being served.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's board meeting. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Shapiro.
Here.
Trustee McGreal.
Here.
Trustee Dizelle.
Here.
Trustee Ryan.
Here.
Trustee Michaels.
Here.
Trustee Dwyer.
Here.
Mayor Kitchen.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty then. For your entertainment this evening, we're going to start off with a bid opening. Madam Clerk, it's all yours.
The bid opening came from Public Works, and it's for sidewalk removal and replacement. The first company that we received a bid from was Davis Concrete Construction Company at 11633 South Mayfield Avenue, Alsip, Illinois. They have a bid bond. And they have supplied three different prices. The first price is $7.95 per square foot for 5-inch concrete sidewalks. The second price is $8.05 per square foot of 7-inch. And then ADA detectable warning unit is $13.50 per square foot. The second bid received was from Fraser Concrete, 15941 South Harlem Avenue, number 315, Tinley Park, Illinois.
Oh, Madam Clerk, on that address, did you say 31 or 41 South Harlem?
I said 15941 South Harlem Avenue,
I thought I heard 31.
Unit 315.
Okay.
Number 315.
Thank you.
Now, they also have a bid bond. Their amount per square foot, 5-inch concrete, is $9.43. 7-inch concrete also has the same amount of $9.43. They have a total on theirs of $100,901. And I do not see the ADA listed out separate. The third and final bid received was from White Line Construction Incorporated, 4722 South Spalding, Chicago, Illinois. They also have a bid bond attached. Their amount is $6 for 5-inch per square foot. Their 7-inch sidewalk, concrete sidewalk, is $6.50. And they do have an ADA detectable warning unit. Price of $24 per square foot. That concludes the bid opening for the removal and replacement of sidewalks, and I refer this to committee for review.
Question. Would be to Mike Frater. Mike, could you tell us how many square feet we're talking about?
The total square footage that we're looking for approximately for this project was 10,700 square feet.
10,700. And how much of that is the ADA?
As of right now, we've located one corner that would require an ADA tile.
Okay.
And of the 7-inch, it looks like we have about 24 squares that would be at the 7-inch. The rest would all be 5-inch.
Thank you.
Officers' report, starting with myself. First, in the absence of our fire chief and deputy chief, I would like to inform this board that our paper mill had a fire today that went to a level of a box alarm. I don't know what the damages are, but our fire department was on it rather quickly and extinguished it. It was in the processing area, but we don't have any estimate of the damages. This is important to us. There's 320 people that work there, and many of them are Alsip citizens, so we always be concerned with that. But I would like to say that the fire department made an extremely good response and a really good hit on the fire, so I don't think that they're going to be out of operation for very long. But we'd like to see that stuff happen. Moving along, I have a request for approval to allow the village-wide garage sales September 16, 17, 18, 2016 on the agenda this evening. Clerk's report.
I have the presentation, the minutes of the August 15th, 2016 board meeting, and that's all I have this evening.
Attorney's report.
No report.
Engineer's report.
Just a few construction updates. Gossamer Avenue is complete at this time. The transfer bins are also complete, and 122nd Street resurfacing is on hold still because the contractor still needs to get their surface course approved by IDOT. And of course, you know about Jewel being on hold for the NICOR relocation.
I have been calling NICOR every day. I'm now down to threatening them. This is getting ridiculous. Our citizens complain. I get complaints from the store managers over there. And now, worse, that hole is filled in with water, so it's becoming a health concern as far as the mosquitoes are concerned.
Yeah, we're going to ask them to pump that out. So.
It's unacceptable. At this point, we've reached the public forum. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to address this board on anything that's on our agenda? Please step forward, state your name for the record, and please use a microphone and sign in.
My name is Steve Dodona. I was asking about 12400 Cicero. I noticed there's some work being done with the asphalt around the building, but since they've been doing that, we're having a problem with rats all down our block. We've never had that before. I've been there 25 years, and it's getting ridiculous.
Okay.
What are they doing with that building?
We don't know. They have no permits or other than to asphalt the parking lot out front and to the side. We don't know what else is going to happen. They have no permits for anything else, nor have they applied for any business licenses.
So they're doing that on their own, the asphalt?
Oh yeah, we didn't do it. We had nothing to do with it. So they came in and got their permits. We can't stop them from doing that. They had their permits. Well,
What about the rats, though? Is there anything we can do?
Well, we are aware of that problem. Actually, that got started when they built the new tollway building. For some reason, they decided to move north, uptown.
I know
And,
Condesa Del Mar is empty now, too.
and that isn't helping anything either. But we have had our exterminator out there, and they're working on it. Our health officer is aware of the problem, and we're working on it. So it's unacceptable. I agree.
Are they going to knock that building down, though, 12400?
I don't own it, but if I did, I'd knock it down. I'm sure the tax burden that's upon that person is tremendous, and there hasn't been anybody in there now in, I'd say about 2 years, I believe. And if that's the case, then that means that building is bringing in no income. I don't know how anybody can sustain that for very long. So I do know that there's no contracts on the property at this time.
So that building is unoccupied? There's no business or anything going on in there, correct?
There's nobody in there.
It's been that way for 2 years. Isn't there something that we
Yeah,
can do?
we've had them into court. They owe us a bunch of money over all the tickets we've written to them. There's not much else we can do. We can't hold a gun to his head, although don't tempt me.
Well, could we have refused the permit for him to put that asphalt on?
How do you do that?
Refuse it. I mean, if there's no business going on
Well,
there.
here's the thing. By him doing that, he's now reduced the amount of dust and stuff in the air that everything. Yeah. So what do you want to do? You want to stop him from doing anything, and then what? Then what's going to happen?
I don't know. If it's bringing rats and everything else, it's been.
I don't think the parking lot did that.
No.
You don't
No,
do
that
the parking lot?
that really came from the tollway when they built that building out there. That's what started that, and they started moving to the north. So we have had our exterminator out there multiple times. We've also our health officer is aware of it and has written tickets to the various entities. I do know that this past week, because we've been giving the Condesa Del Mar some tickets, and they said they were embarrassed that they weren't aware that the building was falling into disrepair and the weeds were knee deep. We showed them pictures. I believe that we sent our CSOs over to their offices, did we not?
Sent the detective to hunt them the owner. We had sent the citations to the offices. They're getting no response, so we amped it up and sent the detective and found the owner. The owner was embarrassed. She was out there the next afternoon. Or the next morning.
Yeah, they did take down the weeds and stuff, so I know they're working on it.
I'll buy it that they probably came from the tollway, but where they're burrowed right now is in Paul.
Sir?
Mike Pierce, 120.
Microphone?
Mike
Sign in.
Pierce. I did.
Mike Pierce.
4937 West 124th Street. I'll believe that they came from the tollway, but where they're burrowed right now is at Volvo. And, a couple of years ago, we had Mike Spomber come out and, all the overgrown vegetation that comes up against our fences, he had them mow that down. I talked to the building manager over there a couple of weeks ago, and she said that they haven't gotten to it in a couple of years, and they were going to go out there and mow it down. They went out and they saw all the rat burrows. So those burrows are at Volvo. So I don't know who the health inspector is or whatever, but they should go there and they can see it all. If you want to see the rats, come to my house about 9 o'clock, and you'll see them just laying in my backyard. And they're fat, and they don't care. I mean, I can literally go within a foot of these things, and they don't move.
Okay.
And I'm not talking one rat, two rats. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of rats.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
And the burrows are at Volvo. You could send Spomberg or whoever over there, and right up against the fence, you can see their holes in their burrows. And they promised us that they were going to bulldoze it, and they haven't. 2 weeks ago, they said they were going to bulldoze it, and they haven't.
Okay.
How long has it been going on?
This summer is the first time we've ever seen it. I mean, we're finding them dead on the other side of the street.
4?
It's bad. It's really bad. We
Sounds
set up a camera
horrible.
Just to figure out what the heck was.
But you're finding them dead because we're poisoning them, but
Ugh.
It's bad.
appreciate. Anybody else? Moving along, standing committees, Finance Trustee Shapiro.
We are request for the approval of a list of payroll dated August 19th, 2016 as follows. Under the earnings, Gross payroll of $395,768.56, minus the voluntary employee deductions and taxes of $143,898.31, for a net payroll of $251,870.25. Next, I have the request for approval of a list of payroll dated September 2nd, 2016, as follows. Under the earnings, I have a gross payroll of $411,886.03, minus the voluntary employee deductions and taxes of $149,293, to leave a net payroll of $262,593.03. Next, I have a request for the approval of accounts payable dated September 5th, 2016, as follows. Under corporate, $444,172.97. Road and Bridge, $184,647.54. MFT, $31,278.79. The Pulaski Corridor TIF, $78,677.02. The 2001 GO Bond, $802.50. Waterworks, $71,474.36. Heritage One, $110,835. Heritage Two, $69,776.74, for a grand total of all funds of $991,664.92.
Okay, I'd like to pull the attorney bill, the Robin Schwartz bill, for $34,646.82. I'd like to pull that for review. Seems unusually high. I'd like to take a look at the bill.
So when we bring this up for approval for accounts payable, it'll be minus the attorney bills. Well, Madam Clerk, can we put that verbiage on there on the consent agenda? Because the attorney bills are going to be under review.
The attorney bills are showing up on the September 6th. I'm not seeing it on there.
You have the number?
Yeah, what date are you referring to? Because I'm looking
35.
It
for...
says September 6, 2016.
Yeah, September 6, 2016, page 30,
And it's,
page 35.
269314. Legal fees for 6/30/16.
Trustee Dwyer would just like to review them, that's all.
9-6.
So the amount is $26,000?
$34,646.82.
20,
Pardon me?
I didn't hear you, 20.
$34,646.82.
I have a cold, I'm sorry. $34,646.82.
Right, thank you.
You very much.
I also have a request for the approval of a resolution approving the waste collection services agreement between the Village of Alsip and Republic Services Incorporated. And I have a request for the approval of an ordinance amending the Village Code, Chapter 11, Garbage and Refuse, Article 2, Collection Services, Section 11-32, Rates and Charges. Basically, what that does is our Finance Director, Kent Olivan, kind of mirrored the increases to go along with the garbage, the 5-year contract, and going actually up to 7 years. And there'll be a savings to the village, and there'll actually be accumulation of funds, which this board can then use to put towards our OPEG, our unfunded liability pensions, which I think is a great thing to do. And the amount of increase was $1.35, I believe, for a year for the first 5 years. And then the last year is $2.10. But I think it's a good thing to do, and I think we're being proactive in doing that. And kudos to Mr. Olivan for preparing that. And that's all I have under finance.
Fire, Trustee Michaels.
I have a list of bills and timesheets. Also, I have an update of the status of Lieutenant Miller. Due to the fact that we have no chiefs here today, I'm going to table that update for our next meeting on September 19th. That's all I have under fire.
Police, Trustee Shapiro.
Mayor, I have a couple of things to discuss under police, other than the normal list of bills and timesheets. Just an update, trustees. For the month of August, GATSO, the red light, we brought in over $30,000 in red light fees, which is good and bad. It's a good thing for funds, but not so good for. That's gross, and then it was like around $22,000 net, which is pretty good. Also, I have a letter of recognition for 4 police officers, which I'm going to read. One is Sergeant Todd Gakowski, Officer Brian Travis, Officer Edward Kosiolik, and Officer Vince Gonzalez. On August 9th, 2016, at approximately 23:45 hours, Officer Travis and Kosiolik were responding to a request for an assistant to a traffic stop on the 4100 block of 119th Street. Sergeant Katkowski and Officer Gonzalez were attempting to remove the occupants of a vehicle to investigate the odor of cannabis and were met with resistance. The driver of the vehicle fled the traffic stop in the vehicle westbound on 119th Street. Officers Travis and Kosiolik were responding to the stop and quickly observed and pursued the offender southbound on Kedville. As the vehicle approached 120th Street, Officers Travis and Kosiolik observed the male passengers throw a dark object out the passenger window. After a brief pursuit of the vehicle, it came to rest on 115th Street in Karloff, where both the female driver and the male passenger were taken into custody after a felony stop was conducted. The male was found to be concealing cannabis in his mouth. Officers Travis and Kosiolik, upon securing the scene, retraced the route of the pursuit and specifically returned to the location where the passenger discarded the dark object. The officers located a fully loaded 9mm Smith & Wesson pistol on the front lawn of a resident. After investigation, it was learned that the firearm was reported stolen from Phoenix, Illinois, and the offender who threw the gun was a convicted felon prohibited from possessing any firearms. The female driver was charged with a felony offense for aggravated fleeing and eluding, and male passenger was charged with unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. Officers Travis had operated the vehicle in a safe manner, where Officers Kosiolik clearly announced the vehicle location, speed, amount of traffic, and numerous traffic violations. Officer Travis and Officers Kosiolik attention to detail resulted in the recovery of a stolen firearm, and more importantly, prohibited the firearm from being recovered by a child. Your actions during this incident are worthy of special mention and recognition. Your attention to detail within the incident speaks highly of your dedication and aggressively detect criminal activity and arrest criminal offenders. It also proudly shows your deep commitment helping this agency accomplish its mission and goals. Please accept my personal congratulations on a job well done, Chief Chris Rads. Very nice, Chief. Please pass along thank you to the 4 officers. One more thing I do have, the Chief has informed me that the Nights Out, during the Nights Out program, they were taking small excerpt videos from all different parts of Nights Out, and Rocco is putting together the video, and for the next board meeting, either prior to the board meeting or maybe during the police presentation, I'm going to show a 9-minute clip with some interviews of just about everybody. So, kind of nice.
Yeah, for the record, Rocco Merlo has a friend that edits video, and what they were doing was they were actually interviewing prominent people, folks from the village board, and I saw a rough draft of this thing today, and looks really neat, looks really nice. So I asked Trustee Shapiro if the board would like to view it at the next board meeting, almost our debut video, about 9 minutes. It's going to be nice and informative to the thing, and didn't cost us anything, so it's a nice little video, and it's a nice little clip, so we'll debut it.
Do we need to make popcorn or no?
No, the job is done. The top 20 is mentioned in the video.
And that's all I have from police. Thank you, Chief.
Public Works, Trustee Dwyer.
I have a request for approval to issue a refund of $169.50 to AT&T for an overpayment for the vehicle stickers purchased. And that's all I have under Public Works.
Building, Trustee Michaels.
I have a list of bills and timesheets and presentation of the August monthly activity report. The report runs from 8/1/16 to 8/31/16. The estimated cost of construction was $1,864,426. The number of permits issued were 139. The amount collected was $13,115.25. Next, I have a request for approval for the Alsip Chamber of Commerce to display portable signs to advertise their annual auction on October 5th, 2016. Next, I have a request for approval for a one-day event at Food for Less to promote Hispanic Heritage Month on October 20th, 2016, from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. That's all I have, Mayor.
Sewer and Water, Trustee Dazell.
Presentation of the employee time records, list of bills, and the monthly activity report for August. That's all I have, Mayor.
License, Trustee Ryan.
License Committee requests approval for a list of licenses dated September 5th, 2016. We also had a handful of new business applications at the same time. The first one was from Fine Print Custom Designs. They're going to be located at 11823 South Pulaski. This is a custom print shop. Second one was from JG Flyers. They're going to be located at 5043 West 111th Street. This is a restaurant. The next one's from Green Howe Plumbing. This looks like a home-based business at 4519 West 116th Place, plumbing contractor. Next one was from Gaming and Entertainment Management. They're going to be located at 4812 West 129th Street. And this is a service center for VGT operations. Next one's from Pops Repair and Service Incorporated. They're going to be located at 5540 West Calsag Road, and this is going to be a small engine repair and service business. Last one's from Albrecht of Illinois Incorporated. They're going to be they are located at 12337 South Latrobe. This is a storage and warehousing facility. And the last one's from Victor Serta. He's at 4350 West 129th Street, and this is at the Swaparama. This is a prepackaged goods and foods. And we welcome them to the Village of Alsip. That's all, sir.
Is that all, Trustee?
Yes.
Economic Development, Trustee Ryan.
The Economic Development Committee had their first meeting this evening at 6:30 to discuss the Pulaski Avenue TIF applications that the Mannheim Group have drafted. They look really well. This information is going to be available both online at thevillageofalsip.org, and also you can contact Catherine Wojciechowski in the mayor's office to discuss the applications. We do have a meeting set up for a targeted audience this coming Friday here at the Village Hall of both Pulaski Avenue TIF businesses and property owners from 8:30 till 10:30 in the morning with presentations by Kane McKenna, Mannheim Solutions, who is our TIF consultant on the Pulaski Avenue TIF, processing the applications with Catherine Wojciechowski of the Mayor's Office, and Pulaski Avenue marketing update by Roger Hopkins of Mannheim Solutions, as well as a presentation by Mary Schmidt of the Chamber of Commerce regarding the CalSag Enterprise Zone incentives as well. So again, it's not really an open meeting to the public because we are targeting a specific group of people that this would apply to. Again, the applications went out to all these prospective applicants, and we'll go from there. We're going to put this on. I'm going to actually present all the minutes of this meeting at our next meeting here in 2 weeks, but that we'll be asking the board to approve the application process at that time too. And that's all I have, sir.
Village Properties, Trustee Michaels.
I have a list of bills and the request for approval to go out to bid for the replacement of carpet in the hallways at Heritage 1 and Heritage 2. This is a budgeted item for 2016. I have a request for approval to go out to bid for asphalt to be seal coated at Heritage 1 and Heritage 2. This is a budgeted item for 2016-2017. That's all I have.
Insurance, Trustee McGreal.
Just informational that cold and flu season has arrived, and it's advisable to get your flu shots. And Kathy from HR has an update for our village employees on flu shots. Debbie's probably already experienced this. It's never too late.
I think so.
Chris, can you hand her the mic?
Kathy.
Mike. Thank you.
Hello. So as we did last year, we are going to offer the employees flu shots again on site. The date will be communicated this week. It looks like it's going to be about the 23rd, which is a Friday. So watch for more information, but we will again be offering those flu shots in-house for the employees.
Thank you. That's all that I have.
Ordinance and Legislation, Trustee DeZill.
The request for approval to amend Ordinance 2014-12-15, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 4, Board of Trustees and Mayor, Division 1, generally Section 2-55, which is the committee appointments and term, Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip, Illinois, to remove the contradictory information. This is an ordinance that was originally passed by the board in December of 2014. For some reason, it hadn't been updated on the website, so it strikes out some contradictory information in that section.
There was confusion with it because what I had and Trustee McGreal gave me were two different things. They were not crossed off.
So, secondly, I've got the request for approval of an ordinance establishing compensation for the manager of human resources of the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois. We had a committee meeting on this, and this is the ordinance that's brought forth from there. There was one that I had drafted, and there's also one that the village attorney had drafted. The two talk about different terms of starting the net effect of the pay rate. So I don't know if you've had an opportunity to take a look at it. I apologize. When we discussed this at the committee meeting, I forgot to consider the retroactive pay. So it's up to whatever you guys want to choose, one or the other. The one that I did would be the retroactive pay rate back to the start of the fiscal year, May 1. The one that was done by the village attorney, the effective rate was back to when we were discussing this matter just a couple weeks ago. So I apologize for the confusion, my fault. And the reason that I had set it retroactive at the beginning of the year is that's how we've done the other raises to date. So I thought that that was appropriate for that. Whatever your desires are, then I would suggest that we go with the May 1 effective date for that annual rate. Any thoughts, concerns?
I agree with that.
Just so that we are aware of what we're looking at and we vote the proper one.
Do we vote on that, or do we just?
Well, there's two ordinances that are in the packet for the consideration. I wasn't aware that the other one was being brought forth, and so I had drafted the original ordinance based on our discussions at the committee, other than, again, one that, if retroactive, would be considered and for what the term would be.
So the ordinances, I haven't looked at either one. Are they both the same, except for the,
I believe that they're in essence the same, other than the effective rate.
The one that I drafted that I, based on information from staff trying to get ready for the meeting, made it effective August 22nd, which I believe was the date of the committee meeting.
Right, that
And
was,
then
yeah.
the ordinance that trustee Dazell filed with the clerk has it effective May 1st.
right, but I mean, that's the only difference.
Right, the salary's the same.
I mean, so it doesn't really matter which ordinance, but it would reflect the fact that we would do it May 1st, to have her retroactive to May 1st is.
That would be my
what everybody-
suggestion, but it's,
Do we know which one's which on the consent agenda? Or is-
well, they're both to
No,
be
they're-
considered, it's just,
Oh.
and that's what I'm saying, is that we've got two, they were distributed to the board for review, consideration, obviously, and it's up to us to say which one is there. I've already given you the reasons for what my thought is.
Do we have a past practice standard here? In other words, what we have done in the past, so that we're not blazing new territory here?
As of recently, we've gone retroactively, certainly with the collective bargaining agreements that we've authorized, and on the previous non-union ordinances, we've made them retroactive as well, so that we're treating most employees in like kind. So, again, that was my thought for the reason why I went to May 1. So you've got a choice of May 1 or of August 22nd with regards to the effective rate of what the raise is. The raise is still the same. The compensation for the annual amount is still the same.
And that's the only change, the only difference in the two?
That's the only difference.
I would support going with May 1st retroactive.
I do too.
Yeah, under the past practice, yes. May 1st.
John Shapiro, any thoughts about one or the other?
I have no input on it.
Well, because we want to make sure that we do this properly.
Well, I would suggest that you separate it out and then state which one you're presenting when it comes to the consent
Okay.
agenda.
All right.
Just pull that item off,
Okay.
state which one you have, and then go from there.
That is item P on the consent agenda.
Can I, would someone mind?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm just flipping back and forth between them, and there is slight wording differences. I think effectively they're the same thing, but because the village attorney has reviewed one of them, if the date, can we
Okay.
just amend the date of the one that the village attorney's done? I think they're effectively the same thing.
Perfect.
but once-
That's fine. All right, we'll hold back on P and bring that for an individual. Third thing is the presentation of the minutes for the August 29th, 2016 Ordinance and Legislation Committee meeting. That's all I have, Mayor.
IT, trustee Ryan.
No report this evening.
Boat launch, trustee Ryan.
I'm sorry, no report from them as well. Thank you.
Planning and zoning, trustee Dwyer.
I have a request for approval for zoning change from an I-2 to an I-2 special use for the property located at 5044 West 122nd Street, Edon and Dremco, Inc., as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission on August 24, 2016, case number 2016-8-S-100. The motion was passed by the board 4-0. I have a question about that, Mary. Maybe you could answer. What exactly is the special use that they're asking for a special use for this property? Yeah, I thought maybe you might. I wasn't here. I was out of town. Oh, you have the answer?
I believe it was truck sales.
This gentleman,
Here we go.
Good.
Might be the guy you want to ask.
First of all, it's wrong address. About half a mile away from where I'm located. I'm at 5440, but I'm asking for the zoning.
5440.
Oh, 5440.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
5440, Jeff.
That is what we have on here. Is it not
different on
correct
here.
on the consent?
Right.
5440.
5440, okay.
5440 is the correct address on that
Okay.
property.
Okay.
And the use of that property, there's a tenant looking to rent it, and he wants to sell.
I'm not seeing it on here, Sheila.
sir, please hold the microphone close so that,
Sorry.
otherwise it
Okay,
doesn't pick
I
it up.
see
We
it.
can't record it.
I guess I didn't make the microphone. Can you hear me now? I can't tell.
No, we can't hear you. You have to speak right.
A little close.
Straight into the
There you
car. No. You made it.
It's easy for you.
Anyway, I don't know if you heard, the gentleman wants to sell tractors out of there, which is a huge sales tax factor if he's able to sell out of there. And I hope he is, but that property's been vacant for about 6 years now. So we're very happy to have him on board if he gets all approvals that he needs.
We understand, Mr. McGowan. We also understand the reason we gave you a 6B was so that you could get that leased out.
That's exactly, and that helped an awful lot
We're
in the
happy to help.
negotiation. Thank you very, very much. Keeps me from going to Indiana.
And we don't want that.
Thank you.
Thank
You didn't
you.
have to tell us that.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, can we strike the record to make it 5440 West 122nd
On
Street?
cue, I've already done
Okay.
that. Thank you,
Thank you.
trustee.
You may also want to add an attorney draft the appropriate ordinance, because then the next meeting I'll come with the ordinance.
You,
Thank you.
you have to advise the attorney did what you just said.
That the attorney draft the appropriate ordinance.
Oh,
That's
you
what
want
we
me to
usually do on
yeah,
the zoning.
you gotta
Okay. I advise the attorney to draft the appropriate ordinance
Right,
for this property here.
correct.
Right.
Correct, that's
5440.
usually what we,
5440 West 122nd Street. Okay.
right.
That's the proper address that is shown on the original form that had been filed on the Village of Alsip Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
That's it?
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Any presentations, petitions, or communications which we have not covered under ordinary business?
Mayor, as an action item, there's a motion to amend Resolution 2016-8-R-2, authorizing the attendance to the Illinois Municipal League's annual conference to include the finance director and human resources manager under the same conditions as outlined previously for the elected officials. The action had been discussed at the 8/29/16 Ordinance Legislation Committee meeting. All the village trustees present and all the other committee chairpersons acknowledged that none of their respective department heads had expressed interest in attending this conference.
I'll second that motion.
I would like to add my assistant, Catherine Warnerowski, to that list of people authorized to go.
I'm okay with that, sure.
Your motion, then?
Should we modify that request then, where we have just the finance director and human resources manager? Should we include the mayor's assistant on that at the same time?
Right. Actually, I think what you want to do is
A new ordinance.
reconsider the resolution and then move to, first have a vote to reconsider it because it passed at the last meeting, and then make a motion to amend it?
I think we can do that.
Yeah, we had already discussed this, and I think the reason why we had it for consensus is so that we could go ahead and book whatever the things were for the early bird discounts, and that opportunity is since passed for anyone who's not registered. Is she already registered?
No.
Okay. So
Would it not become a
that
new
would
ordinance?
change.
Would it not become a new resolution?
Well, you can either do a new resolution, or if you're going to amend it, you really need to reconsider it first and then amend it. Which, you can reconsider something at the next meeting, that's not a problem, and it is on the agenda to change it, so.
So do we hold off for another meeting?
No, you don't have to hold off. Just, when the item comes up, you move to reconsider Resolution 2016. I'm just doing the rules of procedure on how you handle this.
Okay.
First, you make a motion to reconsider that resolution, and then you would make a motion to amend it to add the people that you want to add to it. So it would be two separate votes.
And we can do that because it had already been voted on? I didn't think we could do that.
You can reconsider something at the next meeting.
But this is not what was discussed, what's being reconsidered. I don't think we can do that.
How do we proceed with this, Madam Attorney?
Probably the best thing to do would be to adopt, if you want to amend the resolution, you'd need, I would pull it off the consent agenda and make this specific motion. It's not clear to me that you have...
What is the conference?
I mean, you can do it tonight, you just need to...
It's the Illinois Municipal League.
When?
It's
It's the 22nd through the 24th of September.
So how about we just address this here, and then on our next meeting, which is the 19th, we'll address the amendment yet once again to consider the executive secretary. It's still prior to the conference, and we've lost the ability to gain the discount that was one of the proposals prior.
Actually, September 8th is the cutoff date.
I think the
September
hotel
8th.
rooms.
That was an overnight
I
stay.
looked at it later. It was the hotel rooms that have disappeared, but I don't think anyone's going to be taking advantage of the hotel rooms because that's not something the village is putting on. And I think it is. I think you're right. I think it's coming
8th.
up
It's right around
a
the
couple
corner.
days, September 8th. So the discount turned out to be for the hotel rooms, and again, that's not part of the resolution. So
Okay.
I don't think there is an issue there. It is September 8th, so I think. And I'm not the attorney, but I think you need at least the consensus to know what you're doing the next time, so people can still sign up for that.
But this should be done as it's written on the agenda tonight, and then if you want to do something else later, you do it next time. You can't do that, change this again.
You can make a motion to amend it as long as the topic is on the agenda.
This isn't on the consent agenda. This was set up just for an action item.
Correct.
Right. So we're looking at what we're voting on right here, I think is what Trustee Dwyer's trying to say.
You can amend an action item the same as you can amend an item on the consent agenda if you want
Okay.
to.
But this is on something that's already been voted on. I don't think you can change it because you're doing a reconsideration. I really don't think you can do that. You'd have to make a new motion. This was already discussed in a committee meeting and agreed to. Now you're adding something different.
I understand that, but motions are made to amend items that come from committee all the time.
Okay, I withdraw my original motion, and I would like to add a new motion. Is that proper, since there was already a second? Do we, how
You
do
can
we?
both withdraw them if you want to, sure.
Certainly, I withdraw my second.
Okay, all right. Then I would like to make the motion to amend the resolution 2016-8-R-2, authorizing the attendance at the Illinois Municipal League's annual conference to include the finance director and human resources manager and mayor's administrative assistant under the same conditions as outlined for the elected officials.
Then I'll second that.
A motion and a second, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call number 1, Trustee Shapiro.
Yes.
Trustee McGrail.
No.
Trustee Dizelle.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Michaels.
No.
Trustee Dwyer.
No?
Mayor Kitching.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That's all I had for that, Mayor.
Now, in the past, when we've changed ordinances or resolutions, such as we just did with this one, I give it a different number. That has been the past history. So I am going to assign a new number to this since we did amend it. So this will now be ordinance number 2016- resolution number, 2016-9-R-1.
Moving along, are there any items you wish to remove from the consent agenda?
Item P is in Paul, Mayor.
He's in Paul.
Any others? I'd entertain a motion to establish the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Madam Clerk, I have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll to establish?
Fill in.
Trustee Michaels, you made the motion?
Yes.
And Trustee Ryan, you seconded?
Yes.
Finance? I already showed you that. I already did it.
Well, he might be
C. The amount is $395,768.56. D is $411,886.03. Item E, you had wanted the amount of $34,646.82 subtracted out, which would leave that amount for item E at $957,018.10.
Correct.
Okay.
M is now Resolution 2016-9-R-2. N is now Ordinance Number 2016-9-1. O is now Ordinance Number 2016-9-2. P has been removed from the consent agenda. Roll call number 2, establishing...
Modify Q, the address.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Q, the property is located, there was a typo there, the property is located at 5440 West 122nd Street. Roll call...
And they added at the, and the attorney will prepare the appropriate ordinance. Sorry.
And the attorney will prepare the proper ordinance. Roll call number 2 to establish. Trustee Shapiro.
Yes.
Trustee McGrail.
Yes.
Trustee Dizelle.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Roll call number 3 to approve the consent agenda. Trustee Shapiro.
Yes.
Trustee McGrail.
Yes.
Trustee Dizelle.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve.
Is there any unfinished business before the board?
Oh, they gotta go back and do
P.
P. We gotta do P.
Oh, returning to item P, I'm sorry. Approval of an ordinance establishing compensation for manager of human resources of the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois.
Mayor, I'd make the motion to approve that ordinance as created by the village attorney, amending the section for the beginning of the compensation to May 1 of 2016.
I'd like a discussion, please, before we vote on this, too.
Sure.
Just a comment before we vote on this. First off, I really appreciate the work on behalf of Trustee Dwyer and Trustee McGrail, who spearheaded this at the beginning. They made every effort to help our human resources person not take another job, especially even after she submitted a resignation. And actually, there was a petition that went around the village hall where all of the employees, many employees, I should say, signed that in support of which. And again, I want to keep the HR person as well, too. I guess the problem I have with it is just the idea that, one, I never really heard from the mayor or any recommendations, Mayor, on your behalf. And I'd appreciate any comments that you had on the issue, too. Did any comment on this?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't mind commenting on it. It's my intention, if you pass this tonight, to veto it anyway. I don't believe that anybody gets a 30% raise around here. You, all of you, are responsible to the taxpayers. That's just not going to work. It's not going to fly. The taxpayers are not going to tolerate that. I'm warning you, if you pass it, that's my comment. So go ahead, do what you got to do.
Well, no, thank you. I mean, like I said, I had just had a few comments because I hadn't heard from you, and we had a committee meeting
How can you possibly
22nd.
responsibly think about, you just gave all the labor unions a 2% raise, and you're going to turn around and give a non-department head a 30% raise? When you have other department heads here, some of them in this very room that certainly would deserve a decent raise themselves. That's all I'm saying. That's just wrong.
Mayor
So-
Kitching, you weren't here for the
Kitching,
meeting.
Excuse me, just Mayor Kitching, I have an email from you that you sent to me saying, when I said, what are we going to do about losing our HR person, because we had a petition going around, I don't think there was anybody that didn't sign the petition. And I investigated
trustee-
just wait just a moment. I investigated all the surrounding towns to find out what they paid their HR person, and she was way underpaid. Even 80,000 is not considered high. Just let me finish. And I
thought you were
I
fair.
brought that to your attention, and you said, what did our finance director say? If we don't pay the people well, they leave. I can show the email to everyone. So you need to pay your employees well, or they will leave, is what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So every petition person, everybody signed that petition, and we feel that she is necessary for our village. She's doing a great job.
Are you done?
And you know what? You were right. If you want to keep an employee, you got to pay him well. It's much more important than some of the other monies that we're spending, like redoing bathrooms. Sorry, but our bathrooms are beautiful. But I've never seen bathrooms with the countertops and the tile and everything that we have in our bathrooms, every single one of them. But yet you don't want to pay an employee? The taxpayers, I'm sure, will be happy to know that she is going to be saving us money, and she's doing a great job.
Didn't say she wasn't doing a great job. She's a nice person, nice lady, I like her. But that's not the point. You're missing the point totally.
No, I
In fact, I
understand.
remember back in the day when I was trying to hire an HR person, you said that your sister-in-law worked for Evergreen Park and she only gets paid $35,000 a year.
My sister-
I remember you
My
specifically
sister
saying that.
doesn't work
this
for
morning.
Evergreen Park as a HR person.
Careful,
Never
these
has.
meetings are taped.
No. Never, ever said that, Mayor Kitching. My sister-in-law does not work. My daughter works as
Okay,
an HR
well-
person.
I think we're losing sight here, and there was a motion already.
I'd like to finish. I actually had the floor. Thank you. But my only pointer was I wanted to have, I certainly want to keep the HR person. I think she's doing a great job. My problem is everything else we do around here as well is we negotiate. We negotiate what we think is affordable. We negotiate what we think we can live with. When we established the salary for HR 2 years ago, we established it at $60,000 a year because after we dissolved the office of treasurer / HR, this board decided this was a number with which we knew it was lean, but we knew we could live within our means at that number then too. The finance director has made suggestions over the last year or two about increasing that cost, and we hadn't done so until, said employee was going to take a job elsewhere. So where I can appreciate everybody's efforts to keep the HR person as well as myself, I would agree with what the mayor just said, not to be repetitive, just that we did our best across the board, and all the employees, we were only able to give them a 2% raise and to live within our means here in the village and so forth. And all of a sudden, now we're going to take exception with one employee, and I don't think it's fair to the other employees. I want to be fair to everybody around here, and I have a hard time with that. I really do. And HR actually told us about how many of the employees weren't happy about the fact that because they weren't represented by unions and whatnot, there was some other benefits involved. We couldn't do anything about that. Their contractors did a great job. I'm sorry, their negotiators, rather, did a great job. And it is as such. We're still not finished with police yet. And, again, I want to be fair to all the employees.
As do we. And we're not just talking about one person. We're talking about a department. She's the only person in that department. That department is invaluable to every employee in this village. And I think they came out and said that. And I'm a taxpayer, too. And I'm glad to have HR in this village.
We sat here till 11:30 at night one night. We went line item by line item in this village budget, And it came all the way down to where we couldn't, basically, we had to stop at some point, because even the finance director said, the only thing left is reducing staff, and we refused to do that. And we want to keep everyone working, we want to keep everyone employed, we have good, valued employees here, and that's what we need. That's what we want, that's what we got. Great employees in this village. But again, I just feel contradictory when it comes to saying that I've only got 2%, and then we change our mind. I don't think it's fair.
Mayor, can I add just my own comments? I was not at the meeting that took place for this finance meeting with the HR person. I was actually out of town. I was between Indiana and Ohio and stuck in the middle of tornadoes. So I was not there for the meeting. I did not have a chance to listen to the tapes from the meeting, nor did I see any record of the meeting, because I don't see any minutes of the meeting. So all I can go by is what the ordinance says, and after all of the hard work this board has done, streamlining and cutting and cutting and cutting and telling everybody no, 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 we're going to turn around and give someone a 30% increase. I don't understand it. But again, I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't know everything that was said at the meeting. As far as Ms. Franson, I think she is a wonderful person, and maybe she was underpaid when she first took the job. That very well may be. But I think it might be sending a wrong message, because you have many other employees that I'm already hearing via email are looking for big increases now. So be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we had a lot of the employees that were actually here. The room was crowded with employees that said, sure, they'd like to make more money. Everybody would. But they all stood up in favor of making sure that we kept our HR person and kept her making a decent salary, because she's worthy of that, and everybody felt that way. That's why they all came out. Every department head signed that petition. And I think everybody was here for that meeting. And we also had a closed door. We also talked right here and did a consensus. And everyone here, John, you weren't here, agreed. And John, Trustee Ryan, you as well.
Absolutely.
You agreed that night. She turned down another job offer to stay here in the village and do the great job that she's doing under those circumstances, under that.
Right. And that evening, what I had said to HR and the trustees at the same time was what I called reasonable expectations. You take a job a year and a half ago at $60,000 a year, and then a year and a half later to go to $80,000 isn't a reasonable expectation from many people.
But she was also promised by the finance director that she would get an increase when she was hired.
Okay.
So now we are living up and owning up to what we promised her before.
And since the meeting that we had a few weeks ago, I've had an opportunity. I spoke to at least 25 residents and business people that I know, and of the 25 people, 3 said yes. Everyone else said no, because they were really concerned more so about setting, as the mayor just said, about setting a precedent that we may not be able to withstand.
Trustee Ryan, you agreed at the meeting. You gave your consensus with the rest of us at that meeting, and a lot was discussed at that meeting. So
it comes down to who's actually running this village. Is it this board, or is it the employees? Your boss is the taxpayers. That's who elected you. They elected you to look after the village's budget, et cetera, et cetera. This is wrong. Nice lady. I'd love to have her stick around. We need an HR position. I fought for that position in the first place.
You're not the only one. I talked about that position.
But this is wrong. Sorry.
That's your opinion. There's a motion on the table, Attorney.
Paul made a motion. I'll second that motion.
Made the motion?
Could I share a personal experience with you that's kind of pertaining to this, but not this woman in particular? I personally hired someone who came into a position, let's hypothetically say IT. I was given marching orders from our finance department that, you know what, I realize what that department pays, but until that person proves their worth, they are going to be lowballed. I went into a meeting with this gentleman, and I said to him, I said, this is what the salary is until you prove your worth. This is what you're going to be paid. But the minute you prove your worth, that you should go here. That employee still hasn't reached his mark of what he's worth. My point is, and it breaks my heart every day, if we are going to get valuable employees that are good at what they do, we have to pay them what we promise them. And we have to keep our word as not only a negotiator, but as a board. And you've got to ask yourself, what is your word worth? And what are valuable employees worth? And that's what I'm saying. And again, this isn't this in particular, but if a word is given on topics, you've got to ask how valuable your word is, because I'm going to tell you, with this employee, I have a hard time looking this gentleman in the face every day, because I was the one who made him the promise under the direction of the finance department at the time. He still hasn't reached what he was promised. And at some point, if we're going to lure quality employees into the village of Alsip, then you've got to pay them comparable salaries. And that's it. And then again, and I know that you have to be fiscally responsible, but it's about you get what you pay for. And again, being in this position, sitting down with a gentleman and promising him something, that here we are almost 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, we still haven't delivered yet. It's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking, because he has proved his worth. He is Kathy Franson has. And that's all I want to say. And again, I appreciate the position that the board is in, because you may be saying, well, we're in agreement for the raise, not that much.
Right.
And again, I understand that also. So I don't want to be pointing fingers at anybody. I just appreciate the work that was done, and I really appreciate the board answering the call of a valued employee. That was phenomenal, and I think that the hat gets tipped to the board for that.
I have a couple questions real quick here to Trustee Dwyer. In your research, were there any HR directors for your municipality making $60,000 a year?
No.
Was there any HR directors or managers?
Managers. And
Okay,
directors
managers.
make a lot more.
Okay, managers.
Right.
I'll rephrase that. Managers are making $80,000.
Yes, 80,000 or more.
Okay.
Right.
So the baseline that you had for managers
The
was
ones that I
80,000.
called in the vicinity.
Was
yeah.
80,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
That was the low number, 80,000.
Okay, so we're at the lower end with the 80,000.
And of course, because the handout that you did that evening actually had Orland Park's HR person on there, and it didn't actually have a job description on there, so I'm not sure if our job description was the same as that person's job description, or if they were handling as much work here as they do in Orland Park. It didn't say.
Orland Park had a HR director, I believe, and an assistant to the HR.
They should.
So,
They've got a lot of
yes.
people over there.
And so did Oak Lawn, I believe.
But that's what you distributed as a comparable.
Not just that. I did Oak Forest, I did other towns, and I don't have the sheet in front
But
of me.
they
It
had
was
no
not
job
just
descriptions.
those.
In many professional organizations, their human resources department doesn't only do just HR. They might participate in the payroll department. They might do other duties too. So there's nothing here that actually has a job description that says we're going to pay 60. Actually, it does. We said we established that pay as a board. We did that 2 years ago. Like I said, to live within our means. And here we're somewhat contradicting ourselves a year and a
I
half
don't know
later.
that we had anything to do with the salary for
Absolutely
the
we
HR
did.
person. Well,
After the fact, John, after the fact.
No, when 2 years
She
ago.
was hired, and then we were told she was hired and what her salary was.
That's pretty much like with all positions.
But
don't
we did
find
not
out-
know ahead of
It was
time.
budgeted that way
We
for
do
the last 2
not find out
years.
until after the person is hired what their salary is, and we've never,
Approved it.
We didn't
we
dispute
never
it.
approved it. We never did anything. We just okayed it.
Exactly. We
By
didn't
not saying
dispute it.
And the
anything.
difference
By not
here,
saying
too,
anything.
is we don't know what happens in other towns intimately, but
But anyhow,
Kathy
we do
is...
have-
Ca-
we
One at a time.
we do already. I've already made a second. Could we do a vote on this, please?
No, because we're having comments. The order of business should be decided by the chair without debate.
I thought when you had
Now,
a second that
I'm speaking, madam. Just few short weeks ago, this board denied a part-time assistant in the clerk's office at $10 an hour. But now you're going to turn around and give somebody a 30% raise? Seriously?
That's not true. It wasn't a part-time assistant, it was a full-time position.
Even at that?
There's a huge difference between a part-time assistant and a full-time position, sir.
And a member of the union.
And I wanted non-union, and you want union. And the difference in price, originally when talking about people being hired at a low price, when I first hired Sharon McDowell, I did hire her thinking of the residents and costs. I did hire her at a lower cost. And then discovered that how the union step raises, a person that was hired after her, their salary was catching up to the clerk as a supervisor in the clerk's office. And for many years, I fought for her to get a raise since I had hired her at such a low salary.
And to the matter of human resources, please.
And back to the matter of human resources.
We have a motion and a second, and we can have this discussion, but we should take the vote.
When we're done discussing this, I'll call for the
Attorney,
vote.
I thought that after a motion, a first and a second, that there was not supposed to be any further discussion.
No,
Did you
no,
decide
there's-
that?
No, I'm
No, that's
asking the
not cor-
attorney. No,
No, that's
I'm not.
only if the motion is non-debatable. This is a regular motion.
Isn't every motion debatable?
No.
When is it not debatable?
A motion to place matter on the table is non-debatable. So there's no discussion on that. Regular motions are allowed to have discussion.
Is there any more
When there's
discussion
been
on
a first and a
HR?
second, that's not
Well,
what
yeah,
I-
that just places it on the floor to be discussed. You have to have a motion in the second
So
to
the
even
discussion
discuss
can go
it.
on and on for how long?
It's up to the chair.
That's not anything I've ever read and gone to my municipal meetings. That's not something the attorneys have ever told us.
Well, why don't you
So
check
this can
Robert's
go
rules?
on
It's
and
very
on and on
clear.
and on then?
Motion and a second.
Is that correct? It can go on and
It's up
on
to the
for...
chair. The chair runs the meeting. They didn't tell
I
you
don't
that
think
at
that's
any of your
correct,
meetings?
Attorney Elliott,
Is there anything further to be discussed about the motion?
for HR.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Okay, I have the motion and second recorded, and I have two ordinances in front of me, and both of them have a different title,
It was,
and section one is
right,
different.
and as
so-
I had said for the motion, it would be the ordinance drafted by the village attorney with the change of the effective start date of the rate to be May 1 of 2016.
Okay. So then the title of that one is approval of an ordinance, amending an ordinance establishing? There's a difference in the titles.
Yeah, that's based on your past practice.
Okay,
I can get you a revised one first thing in the morning that just
Okay,
changes the
I just want to make sure I know
effective
which
date.
one is
But yeah,
passing.
my ordinances always have,
An
On
ordinance
the last
establishing
page.
compensation for manager of human resources of the village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois.
And that has the August 22nd effective date.
Right,
But we're
and
going
I'm
with
amending
the
that
May
to May
1st
1 of
effective
2016.
date.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Roll call number 4. An ordinance establishing compensation for manager of human resources of the village of Alsip with an effect retroactive to May 1st, 2016. Trustee Shapiro.
Madam Clerk, I wish to abstain.
Trustee McGrail.
Yes.
Trustee Dizelle.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
No.
Trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yes.
Motion carries. The ordinance passes. It will now become ordinance number 2016-9-3.
Any unfinished business before the board? Any new
I
business?
just have one thing I want to say. I went to the boat launch the other day just to see how it was looking, and I don't know if anybody knows, but Mary and I went and put some flower pots there the beginning of the summer. But Mary, I don't know who planted those. Did you plant those, Mary? Mary put 2 more additional pots out there.
Right.
And it looks really nice. And the men that are taking care of the boat launch are doing a great job. I mean, as far as pulling weeds and things that we planted years ago, they're really taking care of, and it looks really nice.
Good to hear.
The boat launch looks good.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Under new business, Mayor, if you're done, Trustee Choi, can I address the public forum, if I may? I would like to go out with a specialized rodent and pest inspector, and I don't think a neighborhood should have to live like that.
Right.
And if Mr. Pierce, I believe it is, could leave me a voicemail on my, I'll take the initiative and we'll get a trained specialist out there at the date and time and location that he says these rats are hanging out. And I want to make sure they're rats and not rads, and could be relatives. I'll just drag them home.
Thanks,
But if
Chief.
they are in fact rats, we'll get some specialists out there and take a look at it and see exactly where they are. I don't think that neighborhood should have to deal with that.
Right.
It's horrible.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks for taking the lead on that.
Chief, doesn't the county have a rodent abatement?
I have a guy.
Okay.
Well, we have a guy that we used. I just used him out in Skunk Hollow.
No target practice.
No,
Just to
absolutely
say that
not.
you better take all the police officers out there.
Well, that all depends if it is relatives.
Any new business?
Don't you worry about it.
Mayor? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or the representatives for deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C2. And that's requested by the Finance Director, Kent Olivan.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Roll call number 5 to go into executive session. Trustee Shapiro.
Yes.
Trustee McGreal.
Yes.
Trustee Dizelle.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Michaels.
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yes.
Motion carries to go into executive session.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to stay. We will be coming back in here to adjourn. However, I do not believe anything is going to be voted on further this evening. Thank you for being here.